The Toronto Blue Jays just wrapped up their second spring training game against the New York Yankees. They lost 9-5. We saw some bad things, but we did see some great things throughout the game. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. The pregame show, the Jays Digest pregame show did great before the game. Sorry about messing up the lineup. The Yankees were playing a split squad today, so we pulled up the wrong lineup. We thought Aaron Judge would be playing. We thought a bunch of other star players would be playing, and Clark Schmidt would be pitching, but that was not the case. But we did see some good players on the Yankees suit up. Most notably Anthony Volpe, who we'll touch on a little bit more in this video today. But we want to thank you all for tuning in and for showing out the support. It's been great, and we're just so excited to bring you some actual baseball in these videos.
Yeah, make sure you tune in for those. We're going to have them throughout the year and throughout the regular season, as well as the spring training, our pregame show before Blue Jays Central in the regular season, and for now, just before the game because there's no pregame show. But make sure to tune in. We had tons of people in there, so if you like that, and also make sure to hit the subscribe button. But let's get into this crazy game that was, we didn't win, but there was tons of good things and some Vladdy bombs, as we'll get into right now, which is Vladdy continues to elevate the baseball, and which is something that obviously, he started off, ironically, the first spring training at bat this year with a ground ball, double play, broken bat, and everyone was making jokes. But then he hit a home run in yesterday's game, which we covered, and then today he hits another absolute nuke with another bat flip from Vladdy there. He's loving the bat flips, and he absolutely crushed this ball, Peter. What were your thoughts when you saw this live? And I'll throw it one more time for you guys in case you missed it, but I'll let you take over now. He absolutely crushed the baseball.
Yeah, he crushed it, and he's looking like he's World Baseball Classic ready. He's going to be hitting in the middle of the Dominican Republic lineup, and for good reason. He's one of the best hitters on the planet. And when he's doing what he just did right there, when he's getting the ball in the air and elevating it, he hits it with authority, and I don't think there's anyone better in the game when he's swinging the hot bat. So in his four out of 5 at-bats that he's had in the spring so far, so one of our viewers in the pregame show was right. He did get 3 at-bats in this game. He lifted the ball 4 out of 5 at-bats. So that's a good sign. Obviously he didn't make blistering contact each and every time, but he has hit 2 home runs, and you see when he does connect and when he does get the ball in the air, good things are going to happen, and the numbers are just going to skyrocket if he keeps getting the ball in the air. Stop trying to get base hits, Vladdy. You're a power guy. Hit the ball with authority and drive it to all fields, and I'm loving what I'm seeing so far out of him.
Yeah, of course, it's just spring training, so obviously, we're allowed to overreact a little bit. But that being said, if he made an adjustment in the offseason, which I'm sure he did, and he talked about a little bit, to elevate the ball more and get back to the 2021 Vladdy that, obviously was MVP, would have won MVP any other year if Shohei wasn't as good as he is. But he looks phenomenal, and he looks super confident at the plate. And obviously yesterday was against a real good reliever in Bednar there, and today maybe a bit not as good as Bednar, but one last time for you guys. No, not the same level, but the bat flip was on a bat drop, I guess would be on another level. But let us know what your thoughts are on Vladdy. The hype train is real, and it is super super exciting. And speaking of hype train, we have some more. We have some young stars. Addison Barger again, but let's get into all of them. The young guys shine. Addison Barger continues to play phenomenally. He continues to look super confident. And before we get into your thoughts, Peter, I'm just going to pop up a few screenshots from Jays fans out there who were reacting to Addison Barger, saying, anyone else think that Barger could legit be a dude? We obviously have been on his train the whole time. Yeah, Addison Barger may be starting the season with the Jays, just too good of a hitter. Here's the double, which I'll show you right now. And this was kind of, a big thought. We talked about this a bit before the game, if he'll actually, break the roster. And here is his double. He absolutely crushed the ball. Swing got cut off a little bit, but he's flying around the bases. He's absolutely jacked. I'll show it one more time for you guys. Peter, what are your thoughts on this? He crushed the ball here, and you were texting me getting hyped about it. He obviously hit the home run yesterday, the absolute no doubt home run. He just looks like he looks MLB ready, even though he's had minimal. Yeah. He might just be that guy that I don't know. I'm in shock, to be honest with you, but I'll let you take over.
I think so too. I really think so, and he's got that sort of swagger about him. You could see him rounding the bases. It looks like he's not even trying. Nonchalantly Yet he's at second base within 7 seconds. The guy is just nuts, and he hits the ball with authority. Even when he takes a pitch, he's like spitting on it with confidence, and he just looks like he belongs out there. However, I don't want him to make the roster and ride the pine. I want him to keep developing. I want him to turn into a star player, not just someone that kind of fills a need for the Toronto Blue Jays. I want him to be one of those legitimate guys in the future. And I think he's got a real chance of doing that in 2024 if the Jays don't hold on to Matt Chapman, if Kevin Biggio doesn't pan out after this season, but we'll talk a little bit more about him later on in the video. But yeah, I think he's just got to develop a little bit more in the minors, kind of have his own team to take over and then come to the major leagues fully 100% ready as opposed to riding the pine.
I think that's what the Jays' plan has always been. But at the same time, if he's continuing to do what he's doing now and he continues to do that at the minor league level or maybe even the rest of spring training, then the question becomes a lot harder. But we'll also touch on a couple of other guys, specifically Nate Pearson here. He looked really good. Obviously, he gave up a run. And if you weren't watching the game, you just looked at the box score, you may be a bit, he obviously gave up a run, but he looked very good. And in his outing, the fielding wasn't great. Obviously, that single to right field to, I believe, Zach Britton, or maybe it was center field. Either way, it was not played properly, which ended up being a double. Then, obviously, the pass ball or wild pitch, whatever was considered. But what were your thoughts on Nate Pearson and how he looked before I pop up his major strikeout of Josh Donaldson that hit 101 miles an hour?
Yeah, the stuff is undeniable, Nick, and we've been saying it all along. And Pearson is the type of guy to get kind of a bit of a longer leash than some of the other guys that might be on the fringe to make the team. So he's, the stuff's there. 101 will play at any level that you're pitching at. And then another thing that stood out to me, obviously the big fastball, it's there, and we're all gonna like salivate over it, over the possibilities of it. But his 79-mile-per-hour curveball, now that's a huge speed differential. That's I'm no mathematician. That's 22 miles an hour, I think, between the two, and that'll throw any hitter off, whether you're Aaron Judge, whether you're Vladimir Guerrero Jr., whether you're Luke Maile, that'll throw you off. So that's a big speed differential. His slider looked sharp as well. The only thing that's his problem, that'll be his biggest enemy in making the team, is the control. And if he can figure that out, if he can get more and more consistent as his outings increase, then I think he has a legitimate chance to be that final bullpen piece, at least until Chad Green gets mixed back into the fold there.
Yeah, I agree. And control, which we'll touch on as the last topic here, or second last topic in a minute, was a big factor. But before we do get into that, I just want a final thing on Nate Pearson. This is from Thomas also. If you weren't able to watch the game, 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 3 Ks, 31 pitches, 20 strikes. And like you said, control was the big thing. But like you also said, his fastball was explosive. And I also noticed the curveball was absolutely it was great. It was phenomenal. And when John Schneider was actually being interviewed during the game at the same time Pearson, I think he mentioned something about it as well, because Nate Pearson had a nasty curveball to put someone away. And in case you didn't see it, here it is. His 101 mile per hour fastball to strike out former Blue Jay Josh Donaldson just blew him away. And to be honest, they said on the broadcast, they told that to John Schneider, and he was shocked himself. He was like, "Oh, really?" Because I wasn't expecting him to hit 101, and all indications were saying he was hitting 96 and 98, and then he just goes out there throwing 100. He reached 100 a few times, so I don't know. I'm very excited to see what he has to bring. But let's stay on the topic of pitchers a little bit and move into the third topic, which is some control issues. And I'll let you take over here a little bit. And we'll also quickly touch on Kevin Kiermaier as well. Obviously, we can't touch on every single player in these videos, but what did you notice there at some of the pitchers before we get into the final topic and wrap up?
Yeah, well, I'll stick with Nate Pearson a little bit here. I mean, if you pull up that pitch one more time, that's
Yep.
101, but it's probably it's at
Bit
it's
high.
at the head of Josh Donaldson. So he struggled a little bit with his control in this one. And he's got the stuff, and all the pitchers that went out there had good stuff. Hayden Jenger looked very good. Hayden Yanger, sorry, I think that's how you pronounce it. He looked good towards the end. Hagen Danner looked good as well. All those guys have sharp breaking balls, good velo,
Romano as well.
but it's the control. Yeah, Romano looked solid, but Junior Fernandez, struggled with his control. Julian Fernandez was okay. He left some pitches over the middle of the plate. Luke Bard was not good. I'm not going to write him off. It's just one spring training game, but the stuff just doesn't look like it's there. A lot of center cut pitches. And yeah, I mean it's just what it is, you know. But we did see some great things, you know, out of Kevin Biggio, who I think is going to be a big piece this year, just base running wise. You know, he's probably the best base runner on the team from what it's looking like, and he flies around those bases. He's smart on the field. You know, he's got versatility. You know, we saw some great things today, Nick. So we're not going to overreact over some, you know, things that we might want to eliminate as spring training rolls along, but that's what it's for.
I completely agree. And the Biggio thing, we might honestly have another video coming up at some point, maybe during an off day, of maybe the more in depth about who Addison Barger is really fighting against. But Biggio helped his case going 2 for 2 and played great on both sides of the ball. But before we move into the quick final topic, we will show you guys some Kevin Kiermaier magic. And we got to see the outfield of Dalton Varsho and left, Kevin Kiermaier in center today, and it did not disappoint. Obviously, Varsho still got to get his swing along, but Tim Meza, you know, he didn't pitch very well at all. He gave 3 hits in 1 inning, but absolute cannon from Kevin Kiermaier to gun him out at home. And that's what we're going to be seeing throughout the year. And we discussed it in our pregame live stream that's what we were excited to see today was obviously the defense.
Yeah.
And, you know, the pitch clock didn't seem like too big of an issue today, which was good. And I don't think it's going to end up being a big issue as the season goes along, which is great. But Kevin Kiermaier, that's what he's here for. Best defender on the team. One of the best defenders of our generation. And it's great to see him doing that. And all the pitchers, it was good to see all of them. We're starting to see all the young guys that you really want to see. Relvis Martinez as well had the, played well. So, I don't know. Very interesting. Do you have any final thoughts before we quickly get into the final topic?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been following these guys all off season long, and I think it's really the first time that I've really paid attention to the young guys in spring training as a Blue Jay fan, and I know all their names too. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy that we made a video on, you know, that's the guy that we've been following all off season long. But one young guy that really stood out to me today, who was not on the Toronto Blue Jays, was Anthony Volpe, and he looks really good, and I could see why he's a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. But we'll move on to our final topic here.
Yeah, he was good. And for any Yankees fans watching, you got a good one in him.
He's
And
legit.
yeah, he is legit. And we'll move in now very quickly. Manny Machado extension. We covered it on our live stream a little bit. Well, we might have a full video or maybe in another video discuss how this could affect the Matt Chapman market. But in case you missed it, we wanted to throw that in there. He's gonna be a Padre for the rest of his career. 11 years, $350 million. And we just wanted to touch on that. Do you have any quick thoughts on the extension? Maybe what it could mean for Matt Chapman for a few seconds here before we wrap up?
Jeff Passan saying he's going to be a Padre for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's a bold claim right there by Jeff. He's only 30. I mean, give the guy a little bit of time there. But yeah, Manny Machado, probably the best third baseman in all of baseball, who was going to be the headliner of free agency now at that position. Now he's gone. Now he's locked up. So Matt Chapman is the next best thing on the market, and you know, teams like the Mets, teams like the Yankees are going to be looking at a guy like Matt Chapman trying to bolster their rosters. And I don't know if the Jays are going to be willing to pay him as much money as he's going to command with Addison Barger and all those young guys in the mix.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And luckily, we get to we still have Matt Chapman for another year, and then it's going to be interesting to see what entails after that. I'm sure it'll be a crazy offseason for the Blue Jays, but for now, we got, one of the better third basemen in baseball on our side, and we also have, Addison Barger, who is skyrocketing through the prospect rankings, and looks like he can hit at a major league level. So we're excited to cover it all. That'll wrap up this video. Tons of stuff to get into that we got into today, and we're looking forward to doing it for the rest of the year. So we'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.
Thanks.